Hi guys, welcome to this new video on Spark. In this video we are going to see about data frames in PySpark and what is the advantage of data frames that we can get over traditional resilient distributed data sets, that is RDD, in Spark. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So let's open the command prompt, and in this video I am going to show you how you can use PySpark with your Jupyter notebooks. So the only requirement for that is that you should have Anaconda pre-installed. So let's open Jupyter notebook from our command prompt using the command Jupyter notebook. So in the browser, now you can use Spark with your normal Jupyter notebook. So I have prepared a Spark file with all the commands that I wanted to show you in this video, and we will be seeing them in detail. So firstly, we need to find where Spark is located in our Jupyter notebook. So for that we need a module called as find Spark. So if you don't have find Spark here, so you can install find Spark using the command of pip install find Spark in your command prompt directly, or else from your Jupyter notebook you can just deselect this comment, and this is how you can install find Spark. So once find Spark is installed, you can import find Spark, and then you can use the init method on the find Spark module, which will find where the Spark is located on your system. So let's run this cell. Next is from the PySpark session, we want the Spark context, we want the Spark configuration, and we want the Spark session. So the Spark context is already created when you launch PySpark from your command prompt, but in this case we will be creating the PySpark context. And you should note that the PySpark context can only be created only once. So if you run the cell once, and if you try to rerun it, so it won't work. Let's import them. So now the next part is to create a Spark context in our Jupyter notebook. So I am loading it into this variable called as sc. So this may take a little while. Next is to create a Spark session. So you can use the Spark session that we have imported on that builder method, and on that we'll call the function get or create. So let's run this cell. So this is done. So now let's give some alias name to this Spark variable for the Spark session, like ss. So now for the first example, what we'll do is that we'll convert this list to a Spark data frame. So here I have a list which has a name and one value for that name in a tuple pair. So this name will convert to a data frame using this Spark session that we have, and on that we call the create data frame method for this variable that we have, and using this show method we can actually print out the data frame. So let's run it. You can see here that our list is now converted to a Spark data frame. So instead of viewing this in a form of a data frame, you can also view it in the form of a list. So for that you need to just use the collect method on it. Just run it again. So now you can see that your data frame is converted to a list. Now the next part is we will be giving the column heading to the list on the which we created above. So let's just give a list inside this tuple with the names of the column, and then use the show method on the same Spark session using the create data frame. So now you can see you have the column names with the data. So next part is to convert an RDD to a Spark data frame. So what we do is that we convert this list that we have above into an RDD first using the sc.parallelize that we had also seen in the earlier videos. Then using the spark.create data frame on this RDD, you can even collect it to convert it to a list, or else what you can do is that you can convert it to a Spark data frame and store it in this df variable, and then use the show method on it to view it. So let's view it. This is the same kind of data frame that we got above, but here we are first converting the list to an RDD, and from that RDD we are converting it to a Spark data frame. So next is that we will try to convert a row into a data frame. So for that you need to import this module from PySpark.sql import row. Here we have the row called as name and age, and then we use the map function on the above RDD, and what we do is that for every argument we pass the person star r, and then we again use this create data frame on this person variable, and let's see the output now. So here we are getting the same output because in the row we had this two columns called as name and age, and this map function what it did is that from the above RDD that we had of this Alice comma 1, so it has broken down and it has attached it to the columns of this row, and it has created it in a form of a data frame, and using the df2.show we get the same data frame. So next part is how you can define user defined schema for a data frame and create the data frame from the same. So for that you need to import from pyspark.sql.types.import star, and then you need to create an object for the schema from the structure type class, and you need to define all the fields in your table. So here we have two columns, that is name and age, and both the type for the columns are one for name is string type and that for age is integer type. And then what we do is that call the spark session, on that we call create data frame. We pass in the above RDD, we pass the schema, and then we call the show method on the above variable. So we get the same data set, but here the schema, that is the type of this column name and column age, is user defined, not it is not inferred by the create data frame method. To convert a pandas object to a Spark data frame, we can use this again Spark session dot create data frame df to pandas method and show it. So now let's try to read a CSV file from outside this Spark environment, that is my local computer, and then we can store it in a data frame, Spark data frame, and perform certain operations on them. So besides CSV file, you can read any kind of text file, Excel file, then you can read Parquet files, you can even read JSON files, and many other formats are supported in Spark. As I work on CSV file a lot. So what we do is that firstly we initialize the data frame reader. So using the spark.read method, we initialize it, and using the data frame read method we call the CSV file, and then we give the path to the file which we want to read. So here I have a file in my desktop, I have a file called as all.csv which has data related to stocks of various companies, and it has some fields like open, high, low, close, last, previous, total traded quantity, etc, etc. So we will be reading it in the Spark data frame in this Jupyter notebook file. So we are inferring the header as true, and we are also inferring the schema of the file, that is we'll let Spark on itself know what the schema is, and we'll not define the schema, just like we did above in this case. So let's run it. Then what we do is that this same data frame that we have captured, we try to catch it in the memory so that my Jupyter notebook doesn't have to load it again and again, and we type the data frame. So you can see now this df is of the type pyspark.sql.dataframe.dataframe. So let's count the number of records in this data frame. A CSV file has this much amount of records. You can even check for the data types of them. So first let's check for the columns. So these are the columns, column name of the CSV file that I have read. You can even check for the data types using the D types. So this is the data type of all the columns. Once the data frame is captured as a Spark data frame, SQL like function on the data frame to select various fields from the data frame, and you can use the show method to showcase them. So by default the show method will print the first 20 lines from the record. So here I have selected only two fields from my data frame, that is open and high. So only that two are shown. If you want a particular size, so you can do like showing first top 5 rows. So you can even use aggregate function. The syntax is such a way, df.aggregate. So on this four fields, that is open, close, high and low, we apply the maximum function, we apply the minimum function, and we apply the mean function and show it in the form of a data frame. So this is how the maximum of this four fields, minimum of these four fields, and the average of all these columns is shown. We can also use the where clause in this kind of functional programming. Along with besides where clause, we also have filter function, which also works in similar manner. So this is a condition where I have selected symbol as this company called as TCS, and the timestamp is like this month, that is October 2012, and we show it in a data frame. So if I zoom in a little bit, so now you can properly see how our data frame looks. So here you get in the symbol, that is all the records belong to this TCS company for the month October 2012. So next is we use one advanced SQL function on our data frame to calculate correlation between the opening and the closing column. So we get a very high correlation, 0.99. Then we use the describe function. So as you have seen in pandas, describe is used to get the basic statistics of your columns. So even in Spark, you get the basic statistics using the describe function. You get the count, you get the mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum on the selected columns. We also have this group by. So here we group by based on the symbol, and we calculate the maximum, and we try to show them. So we get the maximum of this opening, high, low, max, max last, max previous, close of every field base, which is grouped by it based on the symbol, that is the company name. So next I wanted to show you how you can convert a Spark data frame to an RDD. So here you on the data frame you call the RDD function, and to print any RDD use the take function. So here it will be printing the first 10 records from the RDD. So you get the first 10 rows here, that is in the form of RDD, and using the take you can print it on the console. Next how you can sample out from your original data frame using the sample method. You need to just pass the fraction of the sample that you want, pass the seed, so that every time you get the same sample, and using show we capture them in data frame. So here we get the sample, and like if you want to see the count of the sample, so let's show you the count. You can see here that we have this much amount of sample taken from the original data frame. Next is the summary function that I wanted to show you. On the same sample that we have above, we use the summary function, and using the show we capture that summary in a data frame. So in using the summary function, we get the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25% quantile, 50% quantile, 75% quantile, and the maximum of all these fields that we have selected. Now to use proper SQL on a Spark data frame, so you need to create a temporary view so that you can use proper SQL on your Spark data frame to query in them. So using the data frame, we create a temporary view called as stocks. So once the view has been created using the Spark, that is spark.sql, we can use the proper SQL queries on our data frame object. So if you are unaware of SQL, you need to go to my other playlist where I have shown and cover everything about SQL. I hope that you are already aware about SQL. If not, you can just check it out and learn from there. And then once you are familiar with SQL, you can use SQL in Spark too. Here I have written a simple query to select stocks where the symbol is in TCS or geometric, and then using the show we convert them to a Spark data frame. So we get this in the form of a data frame, and all the records belong to geometric and TCS. Next is using the SQL, proper SQL, we calculate the correlation. So we get the Karl Pearson coefficient as this much. And the last part that I wanted to show you in this PySpark video is how you can save any of your file or any of your data frame with any condition to the CSV file or text file, whichever you want. But in this video I will be showing you how you can save it in the form of a CSV file. So here we have this query, that is ss.sql, and in that we have a query select star from stocks where the symbol is in TCS and geometric. The same we have seen above, and what we are doing is that we are writing it with an option of header is equal to true, and we are saving it to a CSV format, and then we specify this location where I wanted to save it. So let me change the name something. So let's give this name and let's run this cell. You can check out this location. So this is my desktop location. So in my desktop location you can see this folder has been created. So if you open the folder, so you can see inside this Spark data frame has been stored in the form of partitions. So this is the basic functioning of Spark. You don't actually save everything in a single part, and this is the advantage of using Spark over other APIs like scikit-learn, because everything is stored in partitions. The processing is very much faster than scikit-learn or even Hadoop. So if you open any of this part file, you can see the data belonging to that query that we had saved earlier. So I hope that all the things that I have shown in this video, Spark data frame SQL video, are clear to you. If you still have any doubts regarding any of this stuff, regarding any of this stuff, you can feel free to write in the comment section. I will definitely leave this link to this file as a GitHub link below to check it out. And in the next video, we'll see how you can do this same stuff in Scala programming in Jupyter Notebooks. So till then, if you like my work, please do hit the like, share and subscribe button.